Maven, kick us off with Group A.
Well, Group A, I casted the first match. It was EG versus Orbit. People weren't really sure what to expect. You took EG in that one. I felt good about the European juggernauts with Orbit, and they kept on rolling. Took a 3-0 there, but I mean, it's been all Faze. They're the talk of Group A. They've rolled through. They're the most practiced team. They've been dominant in hardpoint, and it's showing.
Yeah, and you see there, they walk on through this group. Orbit, on the other hand, after dropping that series, now get their chance at revenge. I can tell you right now, earlier today, Clay was saying he wants this group, and he wants this matchup, and now it is here. On the other side of things, though, we had our Group B matches, the remaining 4 teams battling it out to see who would make it onto that Championship Sunday schedule. Elevate versus Rise Nation was the first big shock of this group. Rise Nation looking flat yesterday, but then they began to battle back. You see in that losers bracket, they beat out E-United. They beat out Elevate. They got their revenge earlier today, and then they went on to see where they would face off in the championship bracket. LG, though, they cruised right through.
Well, let's check out the championship bracket because it ended up being Group A's bracket, really is how it broke down. They completely dominated the championship side of things, and, you know, we weren't really sure. I guess I kind of, if you asked me at the very beginning of this event who I expect in the final, probably Faze Luminosity.
Yeah.
But after seeing Orbit day one, before they played Faze, I was like, well, God, they might beat out Luminosity. They did it here. They did it in a big way.
I went on Twitter. I was looking at what people were saying. Karma immediately mentioning how he thought that would be the final as well. Faze LG. But in the end, it is Orbit who walk over the Luminosity Gaming team with some interesting play styles that I think Slack and crew weren't ready for. Obviously, the big one, Propulsion, being used by Urban, caught a couple people off guard on that Scorch hard point. And now the European squad has found themselves in a finals, but more importantly, that man in the front of your screen rated. There's a little bit of a heated rivalry between him and Clayster, and thankfully on the stage, they are as far away as possible from each other in the seating positions.
Well, they're two of the more passionate guys in the game. Raided's going to have to get his squad going and search and destroy, but second in there, you see the red hair. That is Joe. He was a behemoth in their last series. Going off in the respawns, we saw him earn a Warden, drop like 12 kills in a row or something absurd. He has been insane. People were referring to him as basically EU's scump. If he keeps playing like that, and you kind of get what you expect from Zero as far as consistency goes in the slaying department, they can hang with Faze. The real question mark here is probably hardpoint for me because Faze has been so good and so dominant. Yeah,
they've been setting the tone in those series. There's a look at Orbit yet again, but we've been talking so highly of them. The team they're going up against is practiced, they're composed, and boy, oh boy, did they want this matchup. Clayster earlier yelling all about it. Him, Attach, Zuma, and Enable. Enable's hair has provided him with tons of power this weekend. You can see as it reaches towards the ceiling. A look at this squad. Zuma also playing out of his mind so far this weekend. Puckett was mentioning how this team feels so confident in him in Infinite Warfare, and it's great to see that again.
Well, you know, you've seen some teams going into scrims just complaining, maybe lack of focus, not putting in the time. And I talked to Clayster, he said, since the beginning of this game, with a new title, you get frustrated early, right? Things change, or new things to learn. He said positivity breeds positivity. His team went in with that locked-in focus, and they grinded, they learned, they adapted, and they have been excelling beyond what we've seen from any other team, especially in North America. But do I think that they're going to come out here and stomp Orbit in the 3-0 fashion that we saw them play in Group A the first match? I don't. I think this is going to be a closer series, but if I still had to go one way or the other, I'm going with Faze.
You have to remember, back in Black Ops 3, it was Faze's year of top 8, top 4 finishes. Clayster was a world champion alongside Attach the year prior in Advanced Warfare. They are looking to get back on top again, and for these guys, it starts right now with an exclamation point winning the PlayStation Experience event presented by the PS4 going into MLG Vegas. I absolutely think it's possible, but you cannot sleep on Orbit at all.
It's a good start for Faze. Like after a year like last year, what better than to come in? I know there's 8 teams here. I know this isn't on the pedigree of something like Vegas. I get that, but to come in and get the first win and to, I guess, dominate in the fashion they have with only dropping one map, it just got to feel good. It has to set you up nicely going forward, and they're still ahead of teams when it comes to respawns, and they're going to keep that edge.
They're going to have land practice now on IW. They're going to continue to grind and be probably more well practiced than almost every other team that will be in attendance. And the big key thing for me is they will have the confidence. This team rides off that confidence factor. Clayster, when he can get into it emotionally, that is when he is at his best. Ladies and gentlemen in the venue, ladies and gentlemen at home, give us your predictions. Who do you think takes it? It's Europe versus North America. Faze Clan against Orbit. And we're going to be getting into this hard point. And as I see that, now there's players waving. I think they messed up. We're going to have to get a quick reset.
All right. Well, no shocker there.
They ruined my whole hype moment. I was going to feed it so nicely. Now the chat just going to be spamming Kappas as we wait for them to get this lobby set
We've
back.
had that issue a couple times. Players either joining in the wrong team or not getting in time. But we will be ready to go here momentarily to kick off map 1. It will be Scorch Hardpoint. So looking at this.
Yeah, that's what I want to bring up.
Well, that map in particular, but also Hardpoint just in general. What does Orbit need to do to hang with Faze? We just saw them basically 100-point club. I know they hit the 101 mark in the last series,
yes.
but in this game, what was the comment? When we first started watching scrims, you said to me you couldn't figure out why a lot of the Hardpoint games you watched were very close. They seemed to be really long, like 15 minutes, and they'd be like 250, 240, 250, 230. Faze was the only team in scrims we saw smashing people, like 250 to 60, 250 to 80. How do you keep up with that, man?
I think the big thing was they learned the game mode quicker than other people, which one really helped them, right? They knew exactly where to expect players. They knew how to force the spawns out. There are a couple spawns on Scorch that are so far away that sometimes teams, like, for example, Rise was doing it with Vicento. He was running overdrive and just using it to get away from that spawn. The big thing for me, my eyes going to be on Urban with that propulsion. How does it wind up working out? Is it as useful as it was in that earlier series again? Orbit having to wait. I just looked at Clay. I just looked at Clay, and he just gave dead eyes across the stage. It's like icing the kicker in football. That's a saying, right?
He wants to get started. Yes, icing the kicker. Do you watch football a little bit?
A little bit. I mentioned triple-double for basketball. I'm a sporter.
God.
I'm just kidding. Please.
All right, well, we're about ready to go.
I played sports when I was younger.
You're a first baseman,
and then
right?
I got a video game console.
You're a first baseman?
Yes.
Look at how well I know you.
Quite athletic first baseman.
that I don't believe at all. But, yeah, as we get a little bit off topic, we'll get back to the action. So let's talk about our game modes we're going to go through. So it's going to be Scorch Hardpoint, Crusher S&D, Precinct Uplink, Breakout Hardpoint, handwriting here. Look at this. What does that say?
Play Mud Dog. Yeah, that's not English.
I can say banana.
Yep.
And then it's going to be Throwback Search to Destroy, I believe, to wrap things up.
Throwback S&D to end it would actually...
That would be good. That's one of my favorite S&D maps.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about it, but that game too, the Crusher, Search, and Destroy. We saw earlier how the certain routes you take can absolutely give away your position on that map, but it's also key to know immediately when to rotate. And a lot of times, the way teams know when it's time to rotate is they get a player that plays a little bit of a risky play. You know, they push up through the factory, they play through middle map. Then they spot nobody on that certain area of the map and say, guys, I think we got to go towards this site or this site. We do want to continue to touch on the major announcements that came this weekend, though. Yes, there is the competition here, but what really set the tone was all the stuff to come at the COD World League in 2017, outside of the $4 million prize pool we're going to have across the next year. We've got to touch on the LAN event to come later in 2017, the CWL Atlanta Open.
I'm excited to get back to Atlanta, man. Lived there briefly, very, very briefly, but I like the East Coast events. I know Vicento lives
Who'd you live there with, buddy?
Me and Gandhi, man. I can't wait to see him. I miss him.
He said he was going to shave your head bald if you're not bald by that.
Well, he needs to. There's nothing here.
Maybe it'll just wind up happening.
It's just it's like someone was trying to...
Do you have your comb with you?
You see like the patchy grass in someone's yard that doesn't take good care of the yard. It's been like a really dry summer.
You're cooking yourself right now.
Yeah. That's all that's left.
I'll let you take care of that one though. But that was obviously the Atlanta Open, which we're looking forward to later on in the year though. We'll be coming back to this building right here, the CWL Anaheim Open, June 16th through the 18th, the Anaheim Convention Center where we're currently seated. Open to teams from NA and EU as well as APAC. Everyone can get involved. Looking forward to that as well. That obviously a little bit further down the agenda of this next year, but I'm looking at the teams again. I'm praying to the COD gods. I'm seeing guys loading into the lobby.
We're good,
getting
baby.
on their respective teams. Is everyone in here?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right, let's kick off game 1. 5 seconds out. Let's see.
Who are we watching?
Oh, you know what I just saw? Look at Rated. Look at his clan tag.
Oh. That is just all right. I'm just gonna pretend like I didn't see it.
Let's go on with Claser to kick things off. He's gonna have the K-bar, been one of the few using it here outside of the OSA. He's getting shots on, almost able to pick up 2, not able to do so, will drop early. But let's talk a little bit about this first hard point because it is head on a swivel.
Yes.
Players calling out their spawns immediately because you need to flip. They are consistently going back and forth.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was listening to what Clay was screaming across the stage while you were describing how this first hard point is. But yes, it's very fast-paced. I've been watching a ton of scrims. Actually, one of the best players to recognize when to flip and turn around and watch your back on this hard point because it happens a lot is actually Optic Gaming's Formal. He's normally the first one to say turn around. Here they come. They're coming from back deck. You can literally watch how the minimap develops here as play will begin to push towards this back turbine area. If you look at your minimap, the only one near it right now is Clayster, and he's got a tough road ahead of him as 3 Orbit players are pinching on it.
Well, we rotate over to him, and there's 2. Those are big kills around Turbine, because this is a hard point where you can really lock down time. But look at the minimap. He just gets a call where his teammates are coming from. He realizes they're going to be pushing from above. The help gets there just a little bit late, but is it enough to shut it down? I think it was 2 down from either side. Zuma trying to win 1 key gunfight, can't get it done. And now, as we take a look at the minimap, it looks like Orbit has got a nice setup here, and a big part of that is Zero with a 4-streak.
Oh, definitely. He's just more than happy to sit behind the silo, let players push on through this outskirts area because it's an awkward play. We talked about this earlier. You cannot expect to break this hard point by just sending people through this choke area. You need a flanking factory, and right now, thankfully, players actually put such focus. Orbit sent 2 players to watch that back factory area, but Faze were actually just bluffing. They weren't going through there. They sent 4 through that backside. They were able to break it. It was for about 10 seconds of scrap time. Either way, we've got ourselves still a close game.
All right, but let's look at Raiden. He's going to be the first kind of the rotation over here to get to back hanger. Trying to spot low. You see through that back window, he's able to peek and get an angle. Now he's going to fly in, able to trade 1 kill. 1 up above. Nade's going to be out. Doesn't connect with anything as his teammate is going to be able to clean that up. And now just trying to rack in some time. And this is tight so far. It's exactly what you expected, a back and forth affair.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense, right? These 2 teams so evenly matched at the hardpoint. Orbit have been one of the better looking hardpoint teams this weekend. 62-42 the score. One thing to remember, you see right now, Orbit in control of the spawns, but FaZe are now going to push for that back rocks area. They want to be able to grab that spawn, not only to get the rest of this time, but the layers and how you break this hardpoint it can be very challenging because of that backside spawn.
All right, we've got 20 seconds or so left here. Rotations should start beginning here momentarily, but we will watch Attach try to break in with the OSA, not able to do so. And the lead beginning to open up a little bit here for the side of Orbit. But now as they rotate across, Zuma in a prime position here to pick up a few. He actually finds 2. We're now going to be heading over to Drill. Let's get over to Clayster. He's going to be a nice spot here as we basically are playing kind of around that B bomb site.
Yeah, and Orbit looking quite solid right now. They've got the slaying advantage. A lot of the spawns have gone in their favor, and today Joe has been playing out of his mind. Currently on a 5 streak, he's 15-8.
He's flanking as well.
And he's lined up for at least a couple, I was going to say maybe a couple kills here. Does get 1. And a great addition to this game in the Codcaster has been those major alerts that happen on the top of the screen. If he gets 1 more kill here, that 7 alert should pop up as FaZe are coming back in this game, Maven. I do want to say, there is a ton of energy coming from the FaZe side. We love listenings. Let's hear this communication with FaZe Clan.
Watch out. He jumped.
Hang on, look at Drew.
Alright, spawn elbow.
Left side of hill, right side of hill. Left side, right side of hill. Left side, right side of hill. I spawned
Hey, Drew, I got 1 Drew.
Yeah, flank this. Flank this, Drew.
I got him.
Elbow, his elbow.
I'm getting this spot. Drew, I'm in room dead.
And one at dirt tunnel. He's warning. Urban's doing the warning.
No, I have 1 tip. 1 is tip as well. I'm going around there. I got 1 Drew. Let's go.
He's dirt tunnel. He's doing the high warning. He's doing the high warning. Urban.
I'm around third tunnel. They're gonna.
He's looking at dirt tunnel for you, Ian.
Is he?
He's at the end of it. At the end of it, looking for you. He was.
I got 1. Help me. Oh no, I got 1. 1 hit. He's 1 hit.
Help him.
We stayed out. We got it back. I spoke yesterday though.
He's weak and hill. Jammered and hill as well. Left side.
Left corner is nice.
I spawned you with you guys. Let's go.
Let's get.
They're on me.
Yo, you put it to Warren?
On the heady.
Third tunnel.
Yeah, on the heady. Dirt tunnel. 1 shot.
Third tunnel. Nice. Close.
One shot.
Last guy. Trade.
Let's go.
Got me. Nice.
Let's go, baby. Hold on.
I
know. I hear you. Not the weird
push through.
No one there. Right side. Let's go. Make sure we get new hill. Get new hill if we can. Go Warren. Whoever spawn there. I'm going Warren.
Control.
I'm gonna go elbow from middle.
Yeah. I'm gonna pinch.
Try and get to the hill. Yeah, and we're all pinching.
Side door dead. I'm going elbow. There could be no guy here.
Could be in behind.
Yeah, let's go. Go ahead.
And we are back. You saw Faze starting to bring it back a bit. Some nice plays. They were to bring it within 20 now. You do have Camo available for Enable. They're set up in Turbine. This is where you can start to rack up some time. They get some clutch kills here, Jack.
Yeah, they are back in this game, but right now it's still the same issues they've been running into before. Some of these rotations have just been in favor of Orbit, and they're showing it again here. Zero. What a game he's having right now. 23-17. Orbit have been so on point. I want to hear now from their perspective. How do they go for this break? How do they rotate? Can they keep this momentum going? They're still up by about 20.
Got me.
Run it back. He's up top.
Alright, one to the back right.
Next. Everyone go to next. Everyone take.
More. He's pushing out control.
Wiki, so weak.
I spawn cave. I'm right at the back.
They're already gonna be Harry's.
I can see if he's on the head glitch now. What there? Could be back room.
Yeah, 2 bridge, 1 back on the left.
Nothing on the head glitch. Nothing head glitch.
I know.
Right the hill, right the hill 2.
Right hill, dead.
Nice.
I go back.
Nice coming from the old. Coming from the old. Okay, continue to get back.
I go back.
I got
Watch your mid, one's front 12, going.
Nice.
Yeah, 2 hop.
I'm watching back. I'll go hold back.
Dead. 2 hop. Both ones on the right. Both ones on the right.
I'm gonna third.
Right hop.
I got hop. Hop.
One shot. Aim one shot.
They're gonna stack. They're fucking
Loads to the right.
Got me.
Nice. Last guy.
Jump.
Jump. Nice. Hop. I go low.
I got back.
Bridge, left bridge.
I'm weak.
Left bridge.
Yeah, bridge. I'm weak. He's bridge. I need top bridge.
Well, dead.
Jump up
Bridge. Last guy. Nice.
Go.
They could spawn back on you and challenge.
Mid, come in.
I spawn back. Can't see anything.
Go, Troy.
What do you kill?
I'm drill.
At the start of all the listen-ins, Faze was down by about 40 seconds. At the end of both teams' listen-ins, Faze still down by 40 seconds. The play is consistent from Orbit right now. Everybody getting involved. The standout players, though, Joe and Zero, 2 of the young talent on this lineup, just looking so darn good.
And they've been good all weekend long. I mean, that's what we talked about. When I was saying, how can they beat them in hardpoint? They're going to rely on Joe and Zero to slay with the side of Faze. And thus far, they've been able to do it. The league continues to improve. Going to end up dropping there. But let's actually go on Faze for a little bit, see what they're able to do. We'll go on with Zuma here, 21 and 29. The whole side, I mean, everyone right now negative for Faze. I mean, that's the big thing for me right now. You have to slay and respawns, and right now they're not keeping up with it.
That's the thing they're not used to, battling from this position. Typically, they are the team forcing everyone on the other side to be negative. So Faze fighting from this back foot. It's interesting to see how different of a playstyle they now have in this game mode. Typically, they're the ones rotating early. They're the ones in command of the pace. And right now, Orbit are just getting aggressive. They're getting in their face and overwhelming Faze at every single corner. It's a full 1 minute lead for the European squad. We're now going into our 3rd rotation of the hard points, and I have no reason to think why Faze should come back and win this game.
They should, but they've pulled together some 6 sprees here throughout the course of the weekend. Now, this is what we saw with Urban. He was taking the routes. That time they were ready for it. He gets up top with propulsion. We saw that angle. He picked up a triple earlier in the weekend. Not going to work that time. You do see Centurion available there for Zero, where he may be able to make a play at some point, but that is going to be 4 down. That's a nice pickup there from Faze, but 4 down with this particular hardpoint only leads to 5 or 6 points, it seems like, before you're getting flooded yet again.
Oh, players are spawning all over him right now. They're going to continue to pressure. Biggest thing right now, attach on this 6 spree, starting to come to life as I say that, though. The grenade does come in and wipe him off the map. 10 seconds left of this scrap time. Faze just need to say, you know what? Give this up. Let's get a perfect hold at Turbine. This could be the end of the game if Faze can't get it done. We'll see how they perform as they're pushing right to that back catwalk area.
And you already had Zero back there. He was able to get 1 and tag 1, which opened things up for Rated. So Faze usually, I think, ahead of the game when it comes to rotation. A lot of times it's actually been Orbit. They've been there quicker. They've had 1 or 2 guys in a nice position, especially on a hard point like this or Hangar where you need to pick up time.
All 3 times, this Turbine hard point has been entirely in Orbit's favor. And I don't know, I just feel like a lot of it is because Faze keep just trying to flood down this catwalk area, and it's just taking them tons of time to be able to get it done. They're 25 seconds before they can break in.
Well, let's see if they can mount some sort of crazy comeback. That's what you needed. It was 3 down. It's a spree for attach. He was on a 6 spree, now a 4 spree. I think when we brought him up, he was, what, -6, -7, something like that. Really needed to come alive, and he's doing it now in a big way. As soon as we call it out, though, of course he ends up dropping. Orbit
Zero!
Gets the break they need, but only 10 seconds remaining here, Jack. But that scrap time is kind of deadly. Let's go over to the rotation, though. Let's hop over to attach, because he's going to be in a big position here in a one-on-one gunfight likely with Joe.
Look at where Orbit are positioning. They have the players in the back rock area fighting for those spawns. Still Zero is there. He's getting his teammates to spawn up right by this hard point. it's almost like Faze are forgetting about that aspect of this game mode.
Yeah, I just tweeted saying how good they've been at hardpoint. They've been practicing so much, and one of the big things has been their early rotations, their key positionings.
This one's done.
It's been all Orbit. They beat them to all the spots that matter, whether it's been rocks or setting up a back turbine.
Orbit looked good.
Hey, shut them down. 250 to 198. The EU squad getting a big win.
Oh, man. The energy on this stage right now. Raiden hops up out of his seat, lets the Faze players hear it, and now this series has got a hell of a lot more interesting because it's not the stop Faze have been looking for at Hardpoint. They dropped that first map, and the good sign is if this series does go with Faze, winning this game 2 or winning game 3, we will see the game 4 Hardpoint again, which I would be very interested in seeing what map that would be Breakout, right? So
yeah.
This one has all the signs of it being a 5-game series, folks. Here's a look at your scoreboard after game 1. Orbit, Cho, 46 and 32, 2 minutes in the hard point, and 17 defense.
I believe that I've casted basically every Orbit series now this weekend, outside of one, I think. I didn't cast the first Faze matchup, I cast the other 2. Joe has been just disgusting at both. 17 defends, almost 2 minutes in the hard point, 46 kills. He's a freak.
He most certainly is. I know Brycey right now is smiling in his dark European room, happy that his brethren are...
A whole thing of hair gel. I see him sitting there just like throwing gel in his hair,
that's
lounging in a tank top.
Oh, it looks like an animal on top of his head.
A little bit of a bird's nest there for Brycey, but we miss you, buddy.
We do. We'll see him soon enough. So game 1.